We're live. We are live. We are live. And I know it's been quite a long time here in the Armoury TV, but we're back, and we're back to talk about, well, it's silly season, isn't it? And this swap deal for Saliba. We'll go into that. I've got a special guest with me. We'll be back straight after this. Yes, good morning. It is Thursday, June. And I've got my special guest with me here from Cannon Chatter. G Talks Arsenal. How are you, sir? It's been a while.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't complain, man. I had a nice week off last week, so chilled. Did a lot of stuff with the family. Obviously, we were discussing off air just how busy the other half likes to keep us when we do have time. Right? But you know what? On reflection, it was really good because I did a lot of stuff that I wouldn't necessarily, by nature do. But yeah, back to work this week. To be honest, Monday was a struggle, man. After obviously having a week off, long weekend. The weather took a bit went a bit south. So yeah, Monday was a struggle. But since then, I kind of got in the groove. And yeah, it's mad because obviously like personal life, everything's cool. But I have to be honest, I'm missing football, man. I'm missing football. Like the window's not even open yet. It opens tomorrow, and I'm kind of got to the point where I'm a bit sick of it already.
Yeah. And it's this Nations League. No one's really taking that a bit serious anyway, are they? And it's just
I've got to be honest.
Knowing that the World Cup should be starting tomorrow, it just it's one of them ones.
I've got to be honest. Like I've had obviously I've been following the football. Like I've not necessarily sat down and watched many of the games. I've caught up some of the highlights, but yeah, I don't. I think we all feel pretty much how most of the players feel. To be honest, I just think their heads are already in Dubai and
all them. Yeah.
And I think we just want to enjoy the summer and see who the club's going to sign, and then obviously kick the football off again. So yeah, not really been too interested in the internationals, if I'm honest.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, it was my wedding anniversary on Tuesday, and obviously England were playing Germany. Usually, I'd be all over it, or I'd be sitting over in the middle of this going, "What's the score? What's the score?" I had no interest, absolutely no interest whatsoever. No. It's just the way it is. But do you know what? Let's talk about all these because we've been hearing all sorts. First, announced this morning from Leon. Obviously, Lacazette has now signed. He's going to be there till 2025. Listen, when we signed him, I think we were all excited when we did sign him. I thought it was a risk worth taking, seeing what he was doing for Leon in Europe as well. Didn't quite work out. He had some great moments. He had some bad moments. But, it's one of those where it was worth the risk, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think the whole Lacazette thing, like you said, I completely echo everything you said about being excited when he signed. Even if I'm not fully convinced by a player, I'll always be excited by a new signing because it's Arsenal. It's a new player coming to the club. But Lacazette, well, yeah, apart from last summer. But Lacazette genuinely was a player that I was excited about. We were in need of a centre forward. And when he came to the club, I had this kind of debate with, Bobby from our channel, saying, he was never prolific. And I completely disagreed. His season before he came to Arsenal, he scored over 30 odd goals. He was prolific.
Goals as well.
Yeah, he was prolific, and he seemed to be very clinical. And I was very excited, and I was happy that we paid the 40-50 million that we paid for him because, like you said, not only was he doing it in the French league, but he was also doing it in the Champions League for them as well. So he was playing at that level, that kind of elite level. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's he's not achieved or performed on the pitch the way we all would have hoped or expected. But I think he's gone to Lyon now. I wish him all the best. I think there's one thing I'll say about Lacazette is, whatever he lacks in terms of goals, he does try his best to make up in terms of effort, work ethic, effort, and just professionalism. So yeah, it not turned out to be the most prolific striker or the striker that we wanted when we signed him. But yeah, I think he leaves the club, having done an okay job, and kind of just, represented himself as well as he could. Look, he hasn't left the club in disgrace, like his mate Aubameyang. And I think that says a lot about him as a player and a professional.
Yeah. And I was about to say, the same thing. And you could tell that he actually cared about the club. He understood
100%.
the club. He understood the fans. So, yeah, I think, I think that the man would be missed, not so much the player. But,
yeah,
even still, he got us out of sticky situations sometimes. And, most recent, the Wolves game. So, I know the goal wasn't credited to him, but if it weren't for him,
Yeah. I actually saw a stat, something about because they were showing obviously how many goals he'd scored, and basically there was a very high percentage of the goals that he scored were actually match-winning goals. He seemed to score big goals in big moments in games. But yeah, he just wasn't as prolific as we'd hoped. And I think, it just kind of epitomizes that is what happens with any transfer, is that there's an element of risk. A player can come and absolutely, all guns blazing, set the Premier League on light, or they might have a little bit of a difficult career. When we signed the likes of Armoury, nobody really expected him to do what he did. Most people were writing him off after the first couple of games. So, do you know what I mean? He came with a lot of hype, Lacazette, but he never really, fulfilled, our kind of hopes and potential that he had. But like I said, he leaves the club in no disgrace. He was professional throughout. So yeah. Wish him all the best.
Definitely wish him well. And I think we'll still be keeping an eye on him, when he's playing.
Yeah.
So we wish him well, and we'll see what happens next. Right, the title of this stream, Saliba swap. I believe it's fake news. I have seen absolutely nothing concrete enough to suggest that this is going to happen. Apparently, obviously Leicester are really interested in Saliba. I mean, who isn't? And they want to swap Tielemans with him. But there's been absolutely nothing from Fabrizio, nothing from the Athletic, nothing from the media. This has all just been dug up by I'm just going to say how it is. It's been dug up by an agenda-driven rodent who's got a massive following, and everyone seems to be buying it. So I just want to put it to bed. Don't worry, this ain't that. I can't see Saliba going anywhere. He only came out the other day and said that he's committed to playing for Arsenal, to get into that starting 11. Why would he go? And if he was to go anywhere, it'll be back to France anyway. It'll be back to Marseille or something like that, where he actually, he got them into where they are. Well, he was part of the team that got to the second place into the Champions League and whatnot. But what was your thoughts when you heard about all that nonsense?
You know what? We spoke a little bit about this last night on our Rumour Mill show, and to be honest, I didn't even want to speak about the whole Saliba situation because I think very similar to you, I kind of just got fed up with and it was nothing against the player himself. It was more to do with sections of the fan base and all the kind of different narratives that were coming out, hailing him as the next, Maldini, saying he was disrespected and not treated fairly. If we go way back to when he joined the club and he went out on loan to Marseille, I was in complete agreement that was the right thing to do. If we go way back to the streams that I was on, I said that, he's a young kid. He's obviously come to a new club, a big club, big pressure, country, culture, language, everything's different. And he's gone through a recent bereavement where he's lost his mum. And I know what that's like to lose my mum. I lost my mum in my 30s and it absolutely felt like the end of the world. So I can only imagine what he was going through being a 19, 20-year-old kid. So for me, it made perfect sense to send him back to France. Familiarity, consistency, it just made perfect sense. He wanted to be in familiar surroundings. I didn't expect the loan spell to go as well as it did. I think we've all been quite surprised just how well it went in terms of how many games he got, his performances, getting a call up to the French team. But I think a lot of credit has to be given to Arteta because
absolutely
at the end of the day, he was the one that made that call. It was a very unpopular call by large sections of the fan base, and even if he went there and did well and he came back and we did decide to sell him, for me, the reason why that was such a good call is because how well it's gone. It would have been a win-win situation because on the one hand, you would have got a defender now coming back to Arsenal that's going to give us squad depth, or two, you would have had a player that you could actually sell for a profit. So the fact that he went on loan to Marseille, I think all these people with their agendas and narratives against Arteta in terms of not managing young talents, you need to just get your head tested, because I don't see how he could have managed that situation any better. And like I said, Arteta all season has been saying we're looking closely at Saliba. We're looking at his progress, etc., etc. We'll reevaluate in the summer. And then recently he came out and said he will be coming back to Arsenal and he will be competing for a first team place.
And he'll be doing that.
This is it. Saliba has now come out, because I was kind of dreading that interview, if I'm honest, because I thought, you know what, even if there is a slight grey area, the media are going to really, really home in on this and twist it. But he came out black and white and said, look, I enjoyed my time in Marseille. I'm contracted at Arsenal. I can't wait to play. I want to come back and compete for, first team spot. So Arteta's stuck by his guns, and he's been proven right that the loan was right, and he's bringing it back. Saliba's come out and confirmed that he's coming back and he can't wait to play for Arsenal. So what this rumor is basically they have nothing to say about what Arteta has now said. They've got nothing to say about Saliba in terms of the interview. So they're just moving the goalposts and just making up another rumor, another narrative to try and just get clicks. At the end of the day, the Saliba potential transfer to Leicester, there's no legs in it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Arsenal, Saliba is going to come into Arsenal this season and he's going to be Arsenal's fourth choice centre-back, because you've got Ben White, you've got Gabriel, you've got Holding there already, and Saliba is going to be fourth choice. That's a fact. If we swap Saliba with Tielemans, we're basically shooting ourselves in the foot, because we're going to have to go out and buy another centre-back, because
Murray.
Murray's not coming back. He's staying in Udinese, and I think he needs to stay there. And the reason why it doesn't make no sense in doing a swap deal is because Tielemans is available on the cheap, because he's out of contract next summer. So it just doesn't make any sense. There's no legs on it. There's no reputable, journalist or account has come up with any of these links. And like you said, it's just been kind of plucked out of thin air. And obviously, people with agendas and narratives and whatever are just running with it and jumping on the bandwagon. But for me, it just makes no logical sense. If for whatever reason it did happen, because there's always
true.
In football, things change quickly, and if he were to find himself on the way out of the club, and particularly going to Leicester for a swap deal, then I would seriously question the hierarchy at Arsenal, because it would make no sense to me. But I think you made a very good point when you said, even if he was going to make a move out of Arsenal, it definitely wouldn't be Leicester.
No, definitely not. And I just think it's been plucked out of thin air. I think it's, like we said, it's just been, I think people are bored, like we said, it's international break. Look, the problem is some of these deals that we want to get done will not get done this week.
No,
because of the international break. They're all on international duty. The players that we're linked with as well. And Jesus, we're going on to him in a minute. He's out doing his thing for Brazil. So people just need to be a little bit patient. As much as we want these deals done fast, because obviously it's a shorter pre-season. I just think people are bored and they're just typing away and making things up as they go along. Like the whole Morata links. We get links from Morata every year. So they're always going to come back up. But like I said, we are not entertaining that on this channel. It's not going to happen. But let's go on to Jesus, actually, because apparently Man City have slapped a £43 million price tag on him. Now, I've seen this has split some of the fans in terms of willing to pay that much for a player that's got a year left in his contract. The problem you're going to have now is obviously Arsenal are in desperate need of that striker. So I think it doesn't matter where you're going to go. These teams, these clubs are going to know that we're going to need to pay. Well, we'll be willing to pay whatever to get the striker that we want in.
Yeah, for me, the whole Gabriel Jesus thing is becoming a bit of a saga. And the reason why it is, and I don't think it's any fault of Arsenal or Manchester City, because none of us actually know what's going on. But it's obviously social media, isn't it? There was a time when if you wanted to know, who Arsenal bought, you waited for an official announcement on the website, or you jumped on teletext. Do you know what I mean? whereas now it's like there's just a constant, everyday, minute by minute, hour by hour, just commentary of just like potential transfers, and almost like a regurgitation of the same news by all different journalists. So as Arsenal fans, obviously it is very frustrating because it seems like nothing's actually happening when, for all we know, the deal's already wrapped up. Do you know what I mean? So it's the unknown. But I think with the Gabriel Jesus thing, I think in a normal climate, when I say that, I say in a better market where there's more. When I say, well, yeah. So in normal circumstances, if the striker market was better than what it was, and if we were in a better position in terms of players that we had up front, I'd probably be scratching my head at potentially, signing, Jesus for 40, 50 million. The problem is what you've said. Everybody knows we need a striker. So anytime we go in for a striker, they're going to know that we're desperate to make this signing. So the price is going to go up. But also, the reason why I wouldn't be so against or begrudged if Arsenal pay 40 to 50 million for Gabriel Jesus is, one, because we need that striker, but two, I actually feel that the striker market is quite poor. And when I say that, it's a case of, you've got Osherman. Yeah, he's a good player, but he's not worth 100 million. That's 60 million more than Gabriel Jesus. The likes of Tammy Abraham. Yeah, he's had a good season in Serie A for Roma, but he has only scored 17 goals. Again, he's not an 80 million pound player, but I've heard that's what his release clause is. So when you actually think about it, if you take those things into consideration, 40 million for Gabriel Jesus doesn't sound as bad as paying 100 million for Osherman. So it is a sticky one, and I can understand why the fan base is somewhat split, because Núñez is already going to Liverpool by all accounts.
Liverpool, yeah.
If you read a lot into the rumors and stuff, Haaland's already gone to City. He was always going to City, so it's becoming a lot more slim pickings. Like, we're starting to get linked with Scamacca, from the Italian club. He's got 16 goals in Serie A, playing for a mid-table side. And then you've got the likes of, I don't know, we've been linked to this Argentinian striker called Simeone from Cagliari, in one Italian club.
Oh, I've heard whispers of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're starting to look at the striker market, and really, when you're starting to look at all these names, you're starting to realize, as they're being picked off, like Haaland's gone, Núñez has gone, the market's very slim, and the quality for what you're paying for in terms of the, crazy amounts of money, I would say, Gabriel Jesus is actually value for money. Considering all the circumstances around the transfer. So he's definitely the one out of all the players that we've been linked with that I want us to get over the line. And I think it's going to be an absolute meltdown on Twitter if for whatever reason he doesn't sign for Arsenal, because he's been linked to Madrid, he's been linked with Chelsea, and he's recently even been linked with Spurs. So if we don't sign him and we don't get it over the line, how are you going to feel? And who do we turn to?
I really don't know. Who's actually available?
This is it.
Like, who? And the thing with you said with Jesus, he's Premier League proven. People forget how young he still is.
Yeah.
I think he scored 8, assisted 8, played anywhere along the front three for City. It's actually a good return. How old he is, and I think he's got a high ceiling. I think if he's given, because he doesn't start every game, he's often off the bench. And I think with more games behind him, and obviously he's got a relationship with Arteta as well, obviously his time at Man City, I just think it's the most logical signing to make.
No, it is.
And like you said, it could be done. It could be done. We've got agent Gabriel Magalhaes over there, and Gabriel Martinelli in his ear. You're Gabriel, we're Gabriel. We all play for Arsenal. Come with us. So you could be right. I think you might be honest. I think it could be done. I don't think 40, the market we're in now, for a Premier League player, is it really that bad? 43 million, really?
That's what I'm saying, because there's a lot of people saying Arsenal potentially signing Jesus for 40 million, Tielemans for 37 million. That's a lot of money. And I'm like, listen, if Jesus and Tielemans are not out of contract next summer, they're both costed in excess of 60 to 70 million. Fact. And it's not to say that they are worth that, but that's the market we're in. If you are, you got the English tax, but you've also got the Premier League tax. Like, players don't leave the Premier League or go from one Premier League club to another Premier League club for peanuts anymore. It just doesn't happen. So for me, if we could sign Tielemans and Jesus for a combined fee of about 60 to 80 million, that's an absolute steal when you're looking at the market.
For Premier League players.
Exactly, because otherwise, what's the alternative? You go to Italy, you pay 100 million for Osimhen. You go to France, you pay another 100 million. You know, Real Madrid have just signed £100 million teenager.
that's Shimani, yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, he's a quality player, but 100 million is insane money. So it's like you buy 2 Premier League proven players for like 60 to 80 million, or you buy 2 players unproven in the Premier League for a combined fee of 200 million. So do you know what I mean? Like, I think when you look at the whole thing in terms of the market, the contract situation, the players that are also available, Premier League proven, you know, 60 to 80 million for those 2 players for me is a no-brainer. An absolute no-brainer. My only concern is that I said this when I was speaking to a couple of my mates on WhatsApp, and that is that I think if Jesus for whatever reason picks Madrid, I think we can all hold our hands up and say, you know what, it is what it is. I think when Madrid come calling, not many players can really turn down that offer. I think if he signs for another Premier League team in the likes of Chelsea and Spurs, then I think the reaction is going to be awful. And then it started to make me think, well, look, if we can't get Jesus, who could we get? And in all honesty, looking at the likes of, you know, Scamacca, you know, and some of the other players, Osimhen, Tammy Abraham, in terms of what they're worth, I'm thinking, for me, I'd rather us look at home and go for, you know, the likes of an Ivan Toney or DCL, because I just think they're not going to be as expensive, but you kind of know what you're getting with those guys. You know, someone like Osimhen could come for 100 million and absolutely flop. You just don't know.
And that's a big risk. You know, we've done that with Pepe, and look what that's got us. The whole Scamacca thing, I think, he's a very different profile kind of striker. He's big. He's
6'3".
He's your option 2, isn't he? He's your second option. Because the problem I have with Jesus and then Nketiah being a backup is they're kind of similar.
They are
in a way, you know, in terms of profile. For me, Nketiah would be third choice. I would still get another striker in, and I probably would go for Scamacca. The only problem with Scamacca is that I think the agent said that he's valued at around 50 million because he just signed a contract in April.
2026.
I mean, look, 16 goals for a team like Sassuolo is nothing to be frowned upon at his age. I think he's 21.
Yeah.
You know, and Min King spoke about this in January because we were looking for alternatives to Vlahovic.
Yeah.
And he kind of fits that. Not to the level, obviously.
Yeah.
But he could be like your, I don't want to compare him to Giroud as well, but kind of like you know.
Yeah.
We need different profiles of strikers. I do feel, and I just think with as much as I want Jesus, if it's not going well for him during the game, we're bringing in Nketiah, we're bringing in the same sort of player.
Yeah.
And it probably would be the same if we had Balogun still. So I think he'll go unknown anyway. So I don't believe the word that we're only going to buy 1 striker. I still think we need 2. So Scamacca could be an option, but if we're paying 43 million for Jesus, what's Tielemans, 30?
30, yeah. I think the rumours are that we bidded 25, but Leicester want closer to 35 to 40 for him.
So would we go on, but would we then spend another 50 million on another striker? I can't see it happening myself, to be honest. Because we still got other areas to address. We've got the full-back situation. Possibly another midfielder. On that, Zinchenko, because Zinchenko's been linked quite a bit as well. And I'll be honest with you, and you've seen me in the chat. I'm a big fan of his. He offers you something different. He's quite versatile. Like, so for Man City, we know he plays left back, but for Ukraine, he plays in the Xhaka role, if you will, and plays it very well. And I saw a report somewhere. I don't know how true it is, but Arteta has said to him again, apparently, said that, look, I would play in your favourite position, but we might need you as backup at left back at some point.
Yeah.
For how much City want, again, I think there's probably about 30 to 40. I just don't know if we're going to be able to sign 2 Man City players and spend that much money.
Yeah, what's
your thoughts on Zinchenko anyway?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because it's like when I look at our midfield options, and I look at it as we've got Partey, we've got Xhaka, we've got El Nene signed a contract, we've got Lokonga. That's 4 already. 4 more or less vying for 2 positions. So I'm thinking to myself, we're definitely going to sign a number 8. That's clear. That's why we're being linked to the likes of, you know, Zinchenko, Tielemans, Fabian Ruiz, etc. So we're definitely going to sign a number 8, or I hope we're going to sign a number 8. I can't see us signing 2 unless Xhaka's on his way out this summer. Because we're going to, where are we going to play all these players? And I know we got more games, but still, we don't have enough games to be signing. People talking about signing, Zinchenko, Tielemans and Basuma. We've already got 4. That's going to give us 7 midfielders for 2 positions. I just can't see how that's going to work. So with Zinchenko, like, he's a quality player. And I have to be honest, up until most recently, I've never really seen him play in midfield because I've only ever seen him deployed as left back for City, and he looks a good player. I don't watch much of Ukraine, but in the kind of games that he recently played against Wales and stuff,
Scotland, I watched both of games.
Scotland,
he was brilliant.
Absolutely bossed the game.
Put in the strings, wasn't he?
Yeah, he looks like a fan. He deserves to be playing first team football in a number 8 position. How good he is, because if you can, regardless of who you're playing, people say, "Oh, it was only Scotland." If you can play at international level in a number 8 and absolutely pull the strings and boss the game, and that's where he, by all accounts, wants to play, which is why he wants to move away from City. He deserves to be playing first team football. He don't deserve to be a bit part player for City. He deserves first team football. So if we can offer him that, then that's great.
He's a leader as well.
The versatility as well, like the fact that you've got a midfielder that can slot into left back is, invaluable.
That's just it. How many times have Xhaka slide into left back and it just doesn't work?
Exactly. This would work.
You'll be fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I can't see us signing both Zinchenko and Tielemans unless Xhaka is going out the club, personally. So I think it's going to be one or the other. And I think if I'm going to go by the strength of the rumours, I think it's going to be Tielemans. That is going to be our number 1 target for this window. So yeah, and I think if I had to choose between the 2, like, look, I wouldn't lose any sleep if we signed Zinchenko, and I would still be excited. But out of the 2, I think for me, Tielemans just edges it for me. But like I said, it wouldn't be a case of, what are we doing? Why are we not signing Tielemans? Why are we signing Zinchenko? Either or improves our first team for me. But if I had to choose between the 2, it would be Tielemans out of the 2.
Yeah. And that moves on. But sticking with midfield, obviously, we Partey, he gets injured quite a lot. Now, we've seen El Neni signed.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at the Basuma talk, I'm not convinced that we're actually going for him. It's a funny one. I've got I say I love hate. I'm not too sure on him.
Yeah,
I think the ship sailed. I think when we were linked with him, maybe we should have got him then. I don't know. I just don't see. Well, here's the problem we're going to have. Okay, so say the next time AFCON comes around, both Ghana and Mali are in the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah,
we have got 3 players because of Egypt as well with El Neni. We'll be stuck. We would be stuck. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, a lot of people are still talking about it, are still hyped about it. I wouldn't say Spitz's opinion. I think it's just me. I have a bit of a different opinion on him.
Yeah. Basuma is a good player, definitely, and I think if he comes into Arsenal squad, I don't think he's guaranteed to start, like a lot of people are saying. But I do think he would improve the overall squad depth. But like you said, the problem is I can't really see the logic behind it if we've extended El Nene and we still got Lokonga. If we've extended El Nene and Lokonga's going to go out on loan next season, then it would make sense to bring in another kind of defense.
Would you send Lokonga out on loan, by the way? Because I would.
Yeah, I would. Don't get me wrong. He did have a transitional season, so there is an argument to suggest that he could push on this year, because especially where we got Europa League as well, he could probably feature in quite a few of those games.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's nothing wrong. We've seen the benefits of the loan system with the likes of, Balogun, the likes of obviously Reece Nelson doing well in Dutch league, and obviously Saliba in the French league. But we've also seen with the likes of Eddie Nketiah that sometimes it can be unproductive. So for me, if we put Lokonga out on loan this season, I'd be quite happy with it. I'd also be happy with seeing what he can do, because we've got we've got the whole Europa League group stage to be completed in 8 weeks, when usually it's 12 weeks.
It's usually 12, yeah.
Because of the schedule pile-up.
I've stressed that before this channel,
yeah. There's
100%.
going to be games, and Lukonga will get opportunities, because even if we have Partey fully fit and we sign Tielemans, they're not going to be playing Saturday, Thursday, Sunday. It's just not going to happen. We're going to need to rotate the squad. So I think for me, if we had done things slightly different this summer and we've got rid of El Nene, and maybe kept Lukonga and brought in Basuma, that would make more sense. But I know people don't like to think about the AFCON, but you have to. You know, if you've got 5 midfielders vying for 2 places, and then when AFCON comes around, you lose 60% of your midfield. Like, it is a problem. It is a problem. So you have to kind of think of all those things. And obviously, he's got his off the field issues, which obviously are not resolved at the moment. I think he's going through some kind of court proceedings. I'm very much a believer of, innocent until proven guilty. So I won't jump on the bandwagon. I hear loads of people like abusing him online and stuff like that. I'll wait to see how that's all resolved before I kind of make judgment. But for me, he's a good player. He would add squad depth to this team. But in terms of the players we've already got on our books, I can't see us signing him.
He'd want to go somewhere where he's guaranteed to play every week.
That we need to get rid of. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be dead against keeping him, but he doesn't want to stay. So you just might as well just get rid of him.
Yeah, he don't want to stay.
I want to move on quickly to Saka, because I'm hearing a lot of people losing their minds on the whole Saka to City thing. I had a City fan, Ian, who's a FTV regular Man City fan. He says it's not going to come. It's not going to happen. It's all just paper talk. It's obviously he's been named player of the season for Arsenal. I think it's an agent thing, because it's what it's all about at the end of the day. You saw it with Balogun, how long that dragged out for. We just saw it with Nketiah. So the same is going to happen with Saka. I know Saka's on a different level and probably deserves a lot more than what Eddie's on. But I firmly believe he's going to stay. I just think this whole agent thing, and with his contract, just wants to get more money. It's just the way football is these days.
No, with the whole Saka thing, it's like, for me, I can't see him leaving to go into City or Liverpool anytime soon. And I think it's clear that the boy loves the club. I think those around him will play a big part in terms of how his career pans out. And I think if you look at the age of him, I know, regardless of my Arsenal bias, I know if I was somebody who's in his ear or around him or part of his team or agent, I'd be saying to him, listen, you're young, you've got your whole career ahead of you. There's no need to make a rash decision at this point in your career. I think if he was to leave Arsenal now and go to the likes of Liverpool or Man City, I think it would be detrimental to his career personally. Yes, he might go there and he might win trophies, but he's never going to get, the love, the game time, and just the kind of general adoration that he's got at Arsenal. But more importantly for his career, he's not going to get the game time. He's not going to go to Man City and just slot straight into that team and play every single week. Yes, exactly. he will compete, but it's not going to be a guarantee. And right now, he needs to play football. That's what he needs. And like I said, he's very young. I do feel as though, from an Arsenal perspective, that he will sign a contract. I don't think we've got anything to worry about this summer or the end of this contract. But I do feel when it comes to a year or two, by the end of his next contract, we do need to be in a much better position in terms of a club, in terms of competing in the Champions League, competing for titles. Because I think at that point, I think even Saka should have the right to say, well, look, what's going on here? I need some kind of, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to end up like Harry Kane.
No,
they exactly. Don't. They don't. And he's already won trophies. But having said that, a player of his ability and his potential should be playing at the top level, competing for the top competition. So, and I wouldn't begrudge him after another 4 or 5 years if he said, you know what?
Yeah, we haven't gone anywhere.
And win trophies. I honestly wouldn't have an issue with it. I'd be sad, I'd be upset, I'd be gutted, but I could understand.
You feel a little bit of anger as well, of course.
Yeah, I would. But at the same time, after I calm down, I'd get it because he's only
the whole
human.
Van Persie
He
thing.
win things. Yeah, see Van Persie, I don't know that. I've still not forgiven him.
Have you not? I've forgiven him.
I'm still
At the
not
time,
forgiving him. I
at
don't
the
know why,
time, I was like,
bro.
"You're a snake, mate." But when you just look
Bro,
back and
I
he
don't
saw
know
where the club
why.
was going, and he saw,
I
I'm at
don't know
29. I
why.
need to do something
I think it
now.
was because it's United,
That's the problem. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
because I always don't get me wrong, I know the whole Spurs Arsenal thing, but Spurs are just Spurs, man. But with United, Arsenal, growing up for me, living in London, in many ways, it was almost like the United Arsenal rivalry was almost bigger than almost like the
It
Arsenal
was.
rivalry.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was a dagger to the heart, man. And it's like I won't say I haven't forgiven him, I have, but it's definitely something that I kind of hold against him. At the same time, he did what he wanted to do. He wanted to win a title. He went there, and that's what he did. You know what I mean? And at the end of the
He went
day,
there and won one anyway. So
at the end of the day, he's got no real loyalty or allegiance to Arsenal. At the end of the day, he's a professional. It's his job. Do you know what I mean? And everybody wants to be successful in whatever job they're doing in their life. So I can kind of get it. But yeah, I don't think we've got anything to worry about Saka for now. But I do think over the next couple of years, I think Arsenal need to definitely show some more ambition. We need to be up there competing for stuff, because if not, we will run the risk of losing a player like Saka, because this guy he's just phenomenal. He's just phenomenal.
There's Stephen there calling RVP a snake. Oh, he's calling you snake for being here. I don't know.
Probably.
Stephen, we'll have you on at some point, and likewise, I've got to come on to you guys at some point for sure. But listen, before we do go, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
All right. So four position and players that you want to sign this summer.
Oof. Okay. Well, I think we need if we had if we were going for just the 4 players, I think we need to sign 2 strikers, 1 midfielder, and either a player that can be deployed at left back or right and left back. Those would be the kind of players that I would go for. Regardless of out, so nobody leaving, just who we're going to bring in. I'm going to go for Gabriel Jesus. In terms of the players we're linked with, I'm going to be a bit controversial here and go for Ivan Toney as the second option. Midfield, I'm going to go for Tielemans. And I think we're in more need of a left back than we are a right back. So I'm going to go for, in an ideal world, it would be Zinchenko. So those would be the 4 players that I would pick. And that is Gabriel Jesus, Ivan Toney, Tielemans, and Zinchenko. And what's funny is they're all Premier League players, isn't it? I just noticed that.
They are. And do you know, I agree, because I've had my reservations on Ivan Toney and DCL, and I would go 2 strikers as well, by the way. So I'm going with you. Obviously, I'm going with Zinchenko, I'm going with Jesus, I'm going with Tielemans. I like the look of Scamacca just because he's young.
I know.
And he gives you something different, but I just don't see us paying 50 million for him if we're going to pay the others for the other players. I'm going to throw one more. James has put, isn't he? He's given us 5, by the way. He's given us Gonçalo Inácio, who is the defender at Sporting.
I'm not sure, Not too
sure. James will confirm that in a minute. So that's what he's going to go for. Gakpo and Gnabry. How did we forget Gnabry?
You know what it is though. I think we were talking about this on our shows. Is that I think if we sign Gabriel Jesus, I can't honestly see us signing another right-sided winger or left-sided winger, because you've got the likes of Smith Rowe and Martinelli on the left, but on the right you've got Saka and obviously Pepe. I think a lot will depend on what happens to Pepe, but at the same time, Gabriel Jesus can be deployed on the right. So for me, I would much prefer if you look at the rumors, Jesus is the one that we're going all guns blazing for. For me, he can be deployed along the front 3. So like you, I think we need an out-and-out centre forward. So for me, I wouldn't choose to sign Gabriel Jesus, a Gnabry, or a Gakpo. For me, it will be a Jesus, a Scamacca, Ivan Tony, or DCL. It wouldn't be a winger. If we sign like an Ivan Tony or Scamacca and we don't sign Jesus, then by all means, I think the Gnabry signing or the Gakpo signing makes sense. But for me, I'm more of a player that can operate on the wing as well as an out-and-out centre forward. And I think if you sign Gabriel Jesus, I think he's just too similar to Gakpo and Gnabry.
Yeah, James is just confirming that he is a centre-back for Sporting. People are overlooking this, but the Athletic reported at the very beginning of this window that we're looking at centre-backs, cover all competition for Gabriel. And do you know, I do agree. I do think we do need 5 centre-backs. And
we do.
I know Tomiyasu can play at centre-back. Kavi does it for Japan.
Yeah.
I just think we're not set a full-back to do anything like that. So maybe an Asio is a good shout. I don't know how much he's going to cost. I'm pretty sure he's still got a bit left in his contract. I don't know. Again, James is probably going to confirm that because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know too much on him.
I don't know much about him.
I'm one of those that's probably overlooked it. But you know what? He's gone 5. I'm going to go 5 because I'm going to throw another thing at you. So I'm going to go Jesus. This is my dream. It's not going to happen. But we're going to go Jesus, Tielemans, and Zinchenko, Scamacca. I would throw Gnabry in there, but I think we need another goalkeeper.
Okay.
All right, because I'm not too sure on this Matt Turner. I saw the US men's national team tweet out a video of him making a straightforward catch.
I know.
The biggest save you've ever seen in your life. And
but the thing is, he actually almost pushed it in the way of a player.
Yeah.
Like they were actually fortunate to not concede off that save.
I'm just like, I know Arsenal fans get gassed easily on Twitter, but stop it because that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw in a freebie, experienced, good relationship around Ramsdale, only trains next door, already did train next door, rides a bike, Ben Foster.
Yeah, you know what? It's a difficult one because you got the Ben Foster links, but there's also been links to the Barcelona keeper Neto as well, because he's on a free, and it's like I don't know.
Would he come in as a number 2 though?
I think by all accounts, like what I've seen rumors that we're paying up to 5 to 7 million for this Matt Turner. And I think if you're paying 7 million for a player, you're not bringing him in to be third choice.
He must be.
You know, he's got to be competing for, you know, that number 1 spot. And at the end of the day, you know, it depends on what happens to Leno, because Leno's got to leave the club, you know, before we sign another goalkeeper this summer. We've also got obviously
Benfica. Was it looking at him? Was it Benfica?
Yeah, Benfica looking at him. Newcastle were rumored, I think, in January about a potential signing. So I think
Newcastle take him. They've got 2 good goalkeepers already for me.
Yeah,
I rate Dubravka and Darlow. They're 2 really good goalkeepers.
Yeah, the goalkeeper situation, I'm not too sure. I think I'd be pretty happy to start the season with Ramsdale, Turner, and the young lad on Conco. But
I'm going to give Turner a chance.
He probably needs a loan.
As long as players just shoot straight at Turner, would be fine.
Yeah. It's a difficult one, but I know a lot of people. There's in quite a few of the group chats I've been in. A lot of people have been quite for the signing of Ben Foster. I'm not too sure, if I'm honest. I'm not too sure if it makes much sense.
He could be there like a player coach, if you like.
Yeah.
He's got a good rapport with Ramsdale. Anyway, I don't know if you've seen his cycling videos and that, and he's been interviewing him. So I don't know. I just thought I'd throw one in there. It's a freebie.
I did experience.
It would cost a lot in wages.
I did experience, definitely. I'm just not sure how many games he would actually play. But yeah, for added experience, like you got to remember, like we you know, when we're thinking about our team being the youngest squad this season just gone, we've already lost Lacazette, so that's going to come down. We're going to lose Leno. The age is going to come down even more.
Come right down. Yeah.
So yeah, we are going to need. I think Arteta is definitely going to be aware that even though we're losing these players because they might not be the best quality in terms of what we want moving forward, but we are losing invaluable experience as well. Because like you said at the beginning of the show, we might not necessarily miss the player, but we're definitely going to miss the man in terms of what Lacazette has done for Arsenal. So I think the age of the players we're bringing in, I think will definitely be at the back of the mind of Arteta.
Yeah. Well, I just thought I'd throw like a bit semi-wild one in there. You know, that's what I do. James has said that Ignacio's got a release clause of 45 million euros, so that's high 30s, right?
Yeah.
Would we spend that much on him?
I don't think we would.
What we got to remember is that We've spent big on three defenders already.
Yep.
I just can't see it happening.
What, 50,
50 Ben White,
30.
30
We spent
odds.
over 100 million on 3 defenders.
Yeah, I just can't see us.
No, I can't.
I just don't think it would be justifiable. James, I understand you're a massive fan, and he's even gone on to make a big statement here. Going to be the next Ruben Diaz.
Yeah.
For the whole Portugal thing, I don't know. But he's telling me to get Foster in the bin. We aren't signing a goalkeeper. He reckons Cole Hines.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the name I couldn't remember.
Third choice, and Nkunku going on loan. Which I would be against. He's not bad at keeper Hines, but look, we'll give Turner a chance. I just thought I'll just throw a wild one in there.
No, listen, I'm telling you, because somebody shared that clip that you just spoke about in one of the group chats and said, "Oh, he's not coming here to be second choice," and I was like, that is a poor example. Like, if you're ever going to use an example to promote a goalkeeper, that clip was a poor example of goalkeeping. It was right at him. He almost put it straight on the feet of an opposition player, and it was just one of those saves that's completely overhyped. So obviously, I've not seen much of Turner, and by all accounts, he is a good goalkeeper, and he's supposed to be really good at saving penalties, which I don't think Ramsdale's very good at. So yeah,
we haven't had a great penalty stopper since David Seaman. Really,
we have to just give him a chance and see what he's like. You know what I mean?
I think James is playing Football Manager at the moment. He's well, we should be all over the Nkunku from Leipzig.
Yeah, this player's elite.
Yeah, PSG will sniffing around him, isn't they?
Yeah,
PSG is sniffing around anyone.
Yeah, I just think if this player becomes available, I just think we're going to get quickly outgunned by the likes of PSG. I think Champions League is going to be a factor for a player like Nkunku, but also I just think the fees and the money that some of these clubs can pay, I just think will get blown out of the water. It goes back to the Scamacca thing, because I'm like you. I think if it was the with Scamacca, I think out of Ivan Toney and Scamacca, I'd probably prefer to take a chance on Scamacca. The issue is, when I look at the rumours, it's like Juventus are already circling. And I just think if Juventus are circling Scamacca, it's already come out and said that he would prefer to stay in Italy. I just think match.
Most Italians do, though, don't they?
Yeah, whereas I think Ivan Toney would jump at the chance of coming to Arsenal. Same with DCL. So that's what just makes me wary, because we spoke about Scamacca last night in our show, and there are some red flags there. Like, I know Stephen had his reservations about 16 goals, but I said to him, but that was one less goal than Tammy Abraham this season, and everybody's raving about the season he's had. And Tammy's playing for a better side, because Scamacca's side finished 11th in Serie A.
Yeah.
So I think the 16 goals, is a decent return. I think
absolutely
the age, like you said, I think he's 21 or 23.
I'm certain he's 21. Yeah, he's right. He's
young. But again, Stephen pointed out last night that this is his first full season. So
yes, that would be a massive risk at 50 million. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
One season, and it's 50 million pounds. Like, it is a big risk. So, but yeah, I would take a risk on him. The only thing for me that's a massive red flag is it has been rumored that he wants to stay in Italy, and it also has been rumored that Juventus want to play him up top with Vlahovic. And if those two things are true, then I would just say move on quick.
Yeah, no, true. Although, in my opinion, that'd be wild. Two kind of like similar strikers. I think you probably know how to defend against them. But anyway, we don't need to worry about it because we're not in the Champions League. Maybe we'll worry about them in the Europa League if they drop in there. But that's I think it's going to be a short but long window. As an Arsenal fan, it always is. James is agreeing. He's going for Vlahovic 2.0. I agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
But he said stay away from Serie A and Italian players. I kind of see what he's saying there.
Some Italians do well, bro. Like, you look at Gianfranco Zola, absolutely boss of the Premier League. Victor Canio, absolutely brilliant player. But then you also look at some of the others that have come and just not done. I'm trying to think of ones that have come and not done well at all.
Balotelli done all right.
Yeah, Balotelli did all right. For him, it was more kind of off the field antics, weren't it?
To be fair, I think the outcomes of the Premier League, thinking it, not done too bad. I mean, Jorginho, maybe he's done all right. Yeah,
Jorginho's done at Chelsea. I know you had like the Chelsea. They used to buy
Marini's one.
Yeah,
he struggled.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, to be honest, not many actually come over here. To be honest,
no, they don't.
There have been some good examples of Italians that have travelled well. The likes of Vialli at Chelsea. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he's definitely worth a risk. The problem is one, it's like, does he want to stay?
What you just said, I get it. I do get it.
And then also, it's that contract he's just signed, 2026. So they can literally.
He signed it in April. Yeah,
they can literally just ask what they want. So it's going to be a high fee regardless, I think.
As long as we don't get Morata in, that's all I'm saying,
mate.
I just can't. Yeah. Hey, but you never know. It could come and bang. You never know.
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know. But he'd be at the bottom of the barrel for me in terms of signings.
Hey, look, we're only into the second full week of the
it opens tomorrow, bro. This is the thing. It's not even open yet, but I'm still
not even open yet. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I just hope we get those first two done in Jesus and Tielemans.
Yeah.
And obviously the ones that we suggested after that. But listen, G, it's been great having you on, talking about Arsenal transfers. Silly season is here and we love it. We're all over it. It's when you log online and all you see is announce this player, announce that player. It does my nutting.
Yeah.
It really winds me up. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it does. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans, we get sucked in because we see the likes of City making signings, Liverpool making progress, Villa signing a couple of players, and we kind of just feel like, but we should be signing too. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, I think I sometimes have to tell myself I have to remind myself that perspective. You know what I mean? Like, the window's not even officially open yet. They're obviously doing their work behind the scenes, so I just got to relax and just kind of trust that they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll be stressed if it gets to like the 26th of July and we've only signed one player. You know what I mean? Right? I'm just leaving this week because we've still got internationals. From next week, I want to see some movements and I want to get some of these deals done before the preseason because, as we mentioned before, it's just going to be a mad start to the season. Game. So we need it.
If we get to the end of this month and we've not made a signing, I'm going to be stressed. I'm going to be seriously stressed. I'm not even waiting.
30th of June's fair. If we get to the 30th of June,
which
by the way is the Armoury's birthday, so we'll be doing something on that day. So make sure you keep that.
What's that?
Keep that in mind. I said June the 30th, which is the Armoury's birthday. So
nice.
Keep a lookout for. We should be doing something then. But anyway, we've gone on. I said we'll do about 20-25 minutes. Here we are, 55 minutes later. But that's what Arsenal don't do.
You got G talks, man. I don't shut up as everyone says.
No, I love it. And it's what it's about. It's what it's about.
It's good, man. It's good.
But yeah, make sure you check out G Talks Arsenal and Cannon Chatter. Steven's in the comments there. Check him out. Just look, he's there right now. So click Cannon Chatter TV and hit the sub button there. And then make sure if you're new here, you do the same here. And hopefully, we've been struggling the last couple of weeks of getting content out. But, as the transfer window, all the rumbles go on, and I'm sure we're going to have more coming on. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling on. We're going to end the show right there. And let's just see what happens.